Hey, welcome back, guys. The Power Ghost series finale capped off a widely successful era in Power history, tying up some major loose ends remaining in the story, while simultaneously leaving a few lingering ones and placing Tariq in one of the most unlikeliest positions we'd ever thought we'd see him, at the top of the game. Yeah, it sounds crazy to me too, but I'm here to finally break it all down in typical Top 10 WTF fashion. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. And lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things Power. Here we go. WTF moment number 10, Blame Game. The episode begins in the direct aftermath of Monet's tragic death, and after going at it with the police for a bit, the Tejada children find themselves back in their Tejada home and blaming each other for their respective parts in Monet's demise, with Kane holding Diana and Drew to task, and then Drew flipping the responsibility on Kane for his connection to Noma in the first place. Interestingly enough, Diana is the one who rallies the family in the spirit of her mother to stop the finger pointing and avenge their mother's death as a unit. WTF moment number 9, Cover Up Uncovered. Tariq and the gang hold Carter hostage until deciding what his fate should be. After a brief conversation with Davis, Tariq and his crew set out to gain the necessary leverage against Carter via damning info in order to level the playing field. They later find such evidence through searching Carter's home, which presents him as a Buffalo Bill type of personality upon further examination due to his lingering infatuation with his dead wife. Effie and Brayden discover his case files and ballistic reports, which allude to him being the true killer of Kamal Tate, something that Tariq's subsequent interrogation of Carter all but confirms, as one killer looks into the eyes of another killer and confirms his findings through a visual guilt. WTF moment number 8, a monster exposed. Noma has a critical yet revealing fight with Anya, as she not only finally admits to being a drug dealer, which Anya already speculated, but she openly admits to being the true murderer of her father. These revelations forever sever their relationship and place Anya in a state of emotional turmoil for the rest of what would be, unfortunately, her short life. WTF moment number 7, Call of Duty, Black Tejada. After wiping their tears and collecting themselves, the Tejadas hit the go button and go on an all-out rampage against Noma and her various cohorts. With the rest of their family in tow, they storm one of Noma's bases, murdering many of her henchmen and even finding Anya, Noma's most prized asset that's not her business or money. After flirting with the idea of taking Anya out, they decide to kidnap the Queen Pen's daughter in order to gain an advantage over her and force her to seek them out. WTF moment number 6, The Sins of the Mother. After briefly meeting with Tariq and the Junior St. Patrick promising to get information out of Anya, he ends up freeing her from Tejada control, with the furious Kane chasing after him before they get away. And after a brief exchange, Tariq drops Anya to an address where she knew her mother would be. However, in the most shocking moment of the entire episode, upon Anya approaching her mother, she's violently taken off the board by a rage-filled Diana, blinded by revenge, and in desperate need to transfer that tragic energy over to Noma so she could feel the same pain that she's feeling. But even though Diana is the one that pulled the trigger, it's Noma that truly killed her daughter, because it's her sins, deceptions, and missteps, all in the name of ego, that led to her daughter's violent demise. And it's something that would lead to Noma's as well. But more on that in a later video. WTF moment number 5, Checkmate. Tariq and the team finally nail Carter dead to rights by securing concrete evidence in his role in the murder of Kamal Tate. Tariq dangles the damning revelation in exchange for Carter ensuring that Zion video never sees the light of day. After agreeing on these terms, Tariq and co finally release Carter, for some reason, while deploying Drew as a failsafe to permanently destroy the Zion vid. But Carter's final comeuppance arrives in the form of betrayal from the one person he least expected from, his partner in crime, Nico Halston. Nico delivers the hard evidence to Tariq and his crew, and aids them in putting away their most dangerous foe this season for good, after confirming for himself that Carter killed a cop and agreed to attempt to frame him for it, the highest form of betrayal on 2 fronts. WTF moment number 4, The Last Dance. The Tejadas finally catch up with Noma at one of her jet hangars, trying to ensnare her in a trap. However, the joke's on them when the police accompany the Queen Pen en masse to the hangar. After Diana and Drew surrender to the cops as bait, Kane gets the drop on Noma and has one final exchange before sending her to Power Heaven, or let's be honest, Power Hell, or actual hell, to be real with you. This was the only fate available for Noma after what she did to Monet, who is not just a beloved matriarch of the Tejadas, but an even more beloved character to all of us. WTF moment number 3, Love Money. In a surprising turn for the otherwise selfish character, Effie waits on a battered Kane by his bedside and tends to his wounds as much as she can while helping him plot an escape out of town, having just gotten into a shootout with the police and now being a fugitive. In an act of love, Effie gives Kane every dime she has as she's been saving for her Stanford program for the entire season, thus solidifying her position in the drug game for the foreseeable future and also cementing her love for someone even greater than herself, and that is her love for Kane, which this commentator would argue is even greater than it once was for Tariq, which is ironic as all get out. But moving right along. WTF moment number 2, One King. As Tariq initiates a new order for his organization, he surprisingly cuts ties with someone who has been his partner in every season up to this point, and that's with his friend and brother Braden. Although still allowing him to work for his organization, he denies him partnership any further, citing his errors, misjudgments, and drug use as the main factors in his decision. This is Tariq insulating himself from not just people, but also their foolish mistakes, and is the one place that I agree that he's better than Ghost over. Because keep this in mind, the reason Ghost could never fully get out of the game is that he had too many ties binding him to the game. Ghost getting out of the game meant that he had to get rid of his own family, his partner, and every other ancillary dealer in order to go fully legitimate and maximize that into a political career. But with all of these lingering factors still tugging at him, there's just no way he could make it out. By Tariq doing this, he's showing us something that he's alluded to all the way back in the very first season, and that's the third way, being on top of the game with no entanglements involved. In WTF moment number 1, Ghost Reloaded. To piggyback on my prior point, Tariq finally cements his status at the top of the game by meeting with Chinadu and outlining his control of the police, the legal system via his lawyer, and his own distribution network. All of this is enough to convince an otherwise apprehensive Chinadu to make Tariq his sole distributor. And what sweetens the deal is that Chinadu would never even have to meet with Tariq after this, as the system, or the machine as Tariq refers to it as, is an automatic one, all-encompassing, and most importantly, self-sufficient. Some lingering thoughts before we end today's video. There's some beautiful camera work on display when our original Big Three meets up with the Tejadas and offers them their respective condolences for the loss of Monet. Tariq starts out, and we're given Diana's somber expression. Effie follows up with her condolences, where we then see Kane's sad acknowledgement. And finally, Braden finishes the tender moment off with his respects that are correlated with Drew's reaction. It's a subtle moment that's worthy to note, given the history between all 6 of them up to this point. It was originally believed that Drew could be like a Michael Corleone figure of the Tejada family, but now that we've reached the end, it's really Diana that's in that role. Remember, in the original Godfather, Michael was a civilian who turned to his family's business in the wake of his father's health problems and his siblings not measuring up to the task, one being too hot-headed and the other being too foolish. Here, Diana was the civilian who hadn't even caught a body, hadn't committed any crimes up to this point in a major sense, but stepped up to the task in the wake of her brothers being distracted, one wanting to be a civilian and the other on the run from the law. She's the only member of the family that can step up in Monet's large shadow, and it only makes sense for one queen to succeed another. Davis really came through for the gang in the end, while simultaneously getting his own season arc accomplished. His meeting with Jenny and Blanca exonerated the Tejadas, piled the blame on a dead Noma, and got him his license back in one fell swoop. This is the zenith of his character growth. In times past, his upheaval meant the downfall of others around him, even with his own brother. However, this more seasoned Davis has benefited from playing the game fairly this season, while also mastering how to make it work on both sides. You can only pop your collar to such a development with the counselor. Outside of Monet, Noma, and Anya's death, we didn't see the removal of any additional characters by way of the same fate. Who do you think should have caught the proverbial axe in the finale that ended up surviving? Be sure to drop me your opinions in the comments below. And finally, it's been universally accepted that it was Tommy on that final call to Tariq. But could it be someone else? Drop me your opinion on any other potential characters below as well. But that will do it for this one. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are Power fans, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.